So often when we speak of discipleship, sometimes it scares people because they think of being overly religious and not being spiritual. A few years ago, I was at a religious bookstore and I was just browsing to find a book for spiritual enrichment. And I have many books on scripture and on liturgy, on the fathers of the church. I saw something that really attracted me, and it was called Forming Intentional Discipleships, written by a lay woman, Sherry Weddle. I could not put the book down. It only took me a day to read the book, but it has changed my life very much so. I think it's because most people think just because you're a priest that you automatically have all the answers and that we are quote-unquote overly religious. We have this impression that only priests and sisters, religious men and women, are the ones who are called to be disciples. We sometimes look at ourselves as if we have to have a conversion as St. Paul did, or that we have to live our lives like a Mother Teresa or John Paul II. That's not it. Our call to discipleship is to have this personal relationship with Jesus Christ. It is calling us to focus in one-on-one, not as a church, not as a group. And therefore, we should not confuse intentional discipleship with clericalism, but rather functionalism. Functionalism tells us that we have meaning and purpose in the church. In my years of youth ministry and working with young adults, many of them have come to me and said, especially within our Maronite community, that I cannot be like Sitti or Jiddi, my grandparents, or my mother and father, who are constantly praying the rosary, constantly in church, always at novena, doing all of the churchy things. That's not who I am. We should not confuse the difference between being religious and being spiritual. Spirituality is from within one's person. Yes, we can be taught to be spiritual through the prayers and through the efforts of our grandparents, our parents, through the divine liturgy, because it should move us and bring us into a different realm. But that's not where it begins or ends. Again, I go back to what is most important, a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and a call to conversion. Conversion, for most people, is someone who is changing, who may be a non-Catholic, who is attracted to the church, and so therefore they take courses such as the RCIA, the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults. And so therefore they become Catholic, they are converted. That's not conversion as Sherry sees it. There are 5 important steps to conversion to become intentional disciples of Jesus Christ. The first is initial trust. This means a person is able to have a positive association with Jesus Christ, the church. Does it mean that they know him totally, completely? But they are attracted to Christ. The second stage that Sherry speaks of is spiritual curiosity. And as she says, and I quote, "When we live lives that are inexplicable apart from the grace and power of the gospel, we will often find that curiosity is sparked among people who were formerly hostile to the faith. To be a witness does not consist in engaging propaganda, nor even in stirring people up, but in being a living mystery. It means, then, to live in such a way that one's life would not make sense if God did not exist. The third step is spiritual openness. This is where we now look at the church in a very different way, where a person acknowledges to him or herself and to God that they're open to the possibility of a personal and spiritual change. This may be over time, years. Some people may find it immediate within their lives. Again, it is personal, up to each of us as individuals. The fourth step that Sherry talks about is spiritual seeking. She refers to it as the threshold in which a person moves from being essentially passive to being one who actively seeks to know God who is calling him or her. Seekers are asking themselves, are you the one to whom I will give myself? At this stage, the seeker is engaged in an urgent spiritual quest, seeking to know whether he or she can commit to Christ Jesus and to the work of the church. The final step is actually intentional discipleship, when we give ourselves fully to Jesus Christ. Now, again, I don't want to confuse anyone with the idea of being churchy or being spiritual. Being churchy means that, yes, you can become a lector, you could become a member of the choir, you could be a member of the parish pastoral council or the finance committee. You can come and sit at adoration. You can lead the rosary. You can encourage others to do the word and the will of God. But it is not just doing and asking. It is a part of being the church of Jesus Christ. Through baptism, each and every one of us are called to be intentional disciples. It would be wonderful if we all could be John Paul II's, or Teresa of Calcutta, or Charbel, or Rafka. All of us are called with our gifts, with our talents, to be intentional disciples of Jesus Christ. In the letter of St. Peter, his first letter, I think he puts it so succinctly as what our mission as intentional discipleship is all about. Let me read for you from the sacred scriptures. In his first letter, chapter 1, verses 9 through 10, he says, and I quote, "You, however, are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people he claims for his own, to proclaim the glorious works of the one who called you from darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were no people, but now you are God's people. Once there was no mercy for you, but now you have found mercy." You are intentional disciples. Open your hearts, open your minds to the word, to the will of Christ, and enjoy your conversion. God bless you, and God keep you.